I'm Katie Johnston Smith, the executive producer of the Generic Movie People. We are making our first film this year, Christ Camp 2005.
I'm Stephanie Weber, and I am the director of Christ Camp 2005.
And I'm Caroline Nash, and I am the writer of Christ Camp 2005. And I bet you're wondering, what exactly is this whole movie about? And I'm so happy to tell you about it. It is about an Episcopalian summer camp set in North Carolina in the summer of 2005, focusing on our adult staff and the teen counselors and all the shenanigans that ensue when Christ gets involved.
We're going to introduce you to Christ Camp 2005 via our pitch deck for the film that was made by our director, Stephanie. So, Stephanie, can you tell us a little bit more about the theming of the deck and then take us into the first slide?
Yes, well, I was going straight for 2005 mega nostalgia with this, and it pains me to say, but I, yes, was alive in 2005 and of an age that had memories and activities in 2005, which is to say I was a teen then. And so I remember it very well. I remember the trends. I remember making burnt CDs, all that kind of thing. I got a cell phone like a year later, like I was in it. And so I love to take us into that world. It's such a funny world to skewer. And it's right for it. They say trends come in 20-year cycles. Look at us, 20 years later. And what was hot in 2005? Yeah, the Iraq War. It's back, baby. Hurricane Katrina, a new pope. We got one of those too. Most popular artists back then were Kelly Clarkson, Gwen Stefani, Mariah Carey, 50 Cent, remember? Pussycat Dolls, Ciara, John Legend, Rihanna, Green Day, Outkast, Britney Spears, The Killers, All American Rejects, Kanye, Black Eyed Peas, etc. But those were major stars who all had hits.
Like a lot of those are still on my Spotify or whatever I'm listening to.
They're still making music,
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing. So popular movies at the time, comedies were really popular then, which is something that I feel like for some reason producers are reticent with comedies at the moment. But Wedding Crashers, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we had a remake of that recently. The Notebook, Mean Girls is sort of the ultimate. Napoleon Dynamite, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Harry Potter started coming out. The Incredibles, Howl's Moving Castle, Shaun of the Dead, and weirdly enough, Passion of the Christ. Very popular film. I remember my crush saw it and I asked him how he liked it, and he went, "Liked it? Yeah, I don't think you like the suffering of Christ." So like I said, this is really touching me. So TV shows, Grey's Anatomy, Lost, Super Sweet 16 for the teens here, The OC, Zoe 101, Degrassi. I was a big Degrassi head. Malcolm in the Middle, Drake and Josh, Lizzie McGuire, That's So Raven, Hell's Kitchen, American Idol, Survivor, Veronica Mars, and The Daily Show. I was a huge Daily Show watcher as well. And YouTube was founded at this time. Me at the Zoo was the first video. Facebook was absolutely brand new, but none of these teens would have been on it because it was only for college students. Can you believe now your most racist aunt can be on it? But back then, you needed an @edu. And that brings us to the look of 2005, because you can't understand the pop culture without seeing it, And this is a really fun thing. I love design so much. I love giving the world a lot of details to make people feel in it. So I feel like we're going to have a ton of fun with this. Layers were everywhere, from your hair to your tank tops, skirts over jeans, which are back, even though that was like the worst look any of us experimented with, myself included.
Shudder.
I so shudder. My proportions were all off. I'd wear like too long of a skirt with too flared of a jean. Chunky accessories and highlights, big chunky highlights. Sequins. I had a big sequin bag, big sunglasses, and real small, real glasses. Very weird. Think like Tina Fey. She had the little ones back in the early days of 30 Rock and such. Denim everything, famously Britney and Justin Timberlake with their denim VMA look. Flats, Converse, Vans, Hollister, Abercrombie, American Eagle. We had some huge fashion icons that made waves for kind of the first time, like Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie, Hilary Duff, and Lindsay Lohan. This was Mean Girls Lindsay Lohan. Like, we were obsessed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I also like from this time, like, and I think I mentioned in the script too, the rolled over Sophies. That was such a huge thing in my high school. They're like the little short, and like everyone would roll them 4 down. So the shorts like barely like covered your butt. It was a whole thing.
And obviously, like low-rise jeans were in,
Ugh,
and
yeah.
you saw everyone's butt crack all the time.
With their
I've never
Victoria's
seen.
Secret ping thong hanging
Yes.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah, 5 for
absolutely.
$25.
It's
Turns
in
out
Victoria's Secret. God, those lip glosses, everything like that. That was very 2005 as well.
Stephanie, tell us more about the color of 2005.
Oh, this blue turquoise, this like minty color was everywhere. Definitely had a sweater in this color. I was obsessed with it. So I really want to make sure we bring out this color in like some clothing choices and things like that, accessory choices, and then, choose colors around it in the world that would complement it.
Mhm.
We have these two different palettes here that can be used in different scenes, which I think would be a ton of fun to do based on, what's going on in the scene and what characters are where. So definitely want to like try to pull that color out.
Stephanie and Caroline, I would love for you to paint the picture of where this action will be taking place. What is this camp like?
If you went to sleepaway camp when you're younger, you have the picture in your mind of the group of cabins with bunks inside them, wooden cabins. There's probably a lake somewhere where you have to play capture the flag or field day activities, canoe, there's a gym, there's a pool, just a whole compound where you're sort of able as a teen and that age just to find yourself, which I think is such an important event for any kid at that age because it's the first place you sort of get to explore your identity without your parents lording over you. And it is such a core part of my identity. And I think so many people, definitely of our generation, that grew up going to sleepaway camp.
And it is such a world that for the kids that are there, for teens that are there, it's like the only world that exists, you know?
Yep.
So things feel accelerated in the camp, like relationships, friendships, feelings, like there's beginning, middle, end of full relationships at a summer camp, and so I think that kind of energy, feeling wise, is definitely here in the camp, and it can definitely be encapsulated by I feel like the interior shots like feeling as if you're in a cabin, like not super
Yeah.
claustrophobic, but making sure
Yeah.
we can feel or we know that if as a viewer I was in that room, I would know where the walls were. I would know where the entrances were. Like I think
Yeah.
putting that feeling in would be really cool to kind of show how you can feel like this is your only world when you're there. And also, I chose these pictures of Camp Manitoqua in Frankfurt, Illinois, because that was the camp that was closest when we were like in fifth grade. I think we went here. And
Hmm.
so I just used those photos as reference, but I do love this like old school camp. Maybe it was built in like the 60s or 70s, and there's not been a ton of updates. So it feels
Yeah.
slightly dated, even for 2005, like things don't feel up to par. A lot of wood, that kind of thing.
I can smell it, honestly.
Yeah, wet wood is
Yeah.
the smell.
Yeah.
I can feel the sweaty hands of like holding a boy's hand at camp
And
like this.
sunscreen
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
bug spray.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
bug spray. Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Bug
We should
spray.
get like a smell card for people when they watch this, like John Waters.
Yeah. Everyone gets a can of Axe body spray when you buy a ticket to our film.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. That's the promotion for maybe Axe can sponsor this. Axe.
Yeah.
At
Ah,
Axe.
Axe.
you
Sponsor
want to
this.
be you want to be
And
cool
also dude wipes would also be great. Yeah.
And while
and
we're here, if Bath and Body Works is around, I think a
Yes.
cucumber melon
Art stuff.
spray.
yes,
The
yes.
like the roll on glitter and limited 2 is back also.
Before we fully dive into like meeting the characters, I would love to have you guys flesh out like the vibes a little bit more. So, Stephanie, can you talk about some comparable films?
Absolutely.
That
I
could
had a lot of fun thinking about this too. Napoleon Dynamite, we've talked about a lot, just for the feeling and the humor and, directing wise, I love the colors. I'm big into colors. I, love Almodovar and Technicolor and things like that. I love that and the composed shots, like they're just designed really well. And then content wise, theater camp saved Bottoms too, just for this like energy of this female driven
Mhm.
teen comedy. And Yes, God, Yes also took place, in a Catholic school. And you have this teen sort of trying to come to terms with her feelings versus what she's supposed to do in this environment. And I think those are really good comps, especially like theater camp literally taking place at a camp recently.
Yeah.
And that brings us to Wet Hot American Summer, which is a little bit older, but definitely has a similar vibe. Fully takes place at a sleepaway camp. Very, very funny. The interactions with the, adult or teen counselors and the kids is pretty comparable to what you're going to see when you watch Christ Camp 2005.
Diving a little bit more into what you're talking about with that Napoleon Dynamite vibe, can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, Napoleon Dynamite legitimately is so funny. Just humor-wise, I was early to it. It came out around this time, right? Like 2005, 2004 maybe, but I know we saw it in the theater. We were the only, me as my cousin, my brother, and I, we were the only three people in the theater. And, like 2 months later, it was quoted everywhere. There were t-shirts, everything. And I never strayed. I was not somebody that was like, oh, it got popular, so I hate it, even though I'm a punk. I was just like, this movie's great. Welcome to the party. And I still hold on to that. The humor is unique. I love something that brings you into its world. Like the world has its own rules, the characters have their own dynamics. And I think that's very, very comparable to the kind of humor you see in Christ Camp. These relationships exist solely in this world. We're not like commenting from the outside, we are in it, we're there. And visually, there's the little pop of color like you see in the two photos I chose. They're different t-shirts, but he's got this light blue shirt that's like the same color in both. The nicely composed shots. In the locker shot, you see that blue is also being featured in the lockers, and you have the complementary reds and oranges on the side. The characters are all in these like light blue shades, blue to purple, lilac, and things like that. So that's sort of the design touches that I would love to also bring into this once we like bring in some designers as well.
Tell us a little bit about what you like from Welcome to the Dollhouse and how it applies to Christ Camp, how you see it.
Yeah, I think there's also it's the color that I was talking about. I love color, I love design, I love looking at different shots. But Welcome to the Dollhouse is more feminine because it's these coming of age story for this girl, and I loved drawing on that idea too, that these girls, of course, are going to have some of them, depending on the character, they're going to have like really feminine accessories or, looks and things like that. And so the idea of bringing out like those kinds of colors and accessories as well, I think is very fun. Wet Hot is more of like meta, it's more of the commentary on, but just this camp comedy, it's sort of the gold standard for camp comedies. It's so funny. It takes place in the camp, and I believe the making of this is like they all stayed there. They all stayed at the camp, and it was raining a lot, so they were all miserable. But but I know that that's part of it. So like even you kind of can feel that energy even when you're watching it, that it was behind the scenes as well. So this is a Spanish movie. It's from Los Avis, if anyone here is a fan of Spanish or Spanish Drag Race. There's some famous judges, but they made this movie La Llamada, and it takes place at a Catholic camp. And it's got a lot of queer themes in it as well, which those will pop up in Christ Camp 2005. And I just love that because it does also it explores these female relationships. It explores religion and the expectations of religion and the culture of it versus, coming of age and finding yourself and your own voice within that world, right? And I find those themes to be really, really comparable as well. So these three films, excluding Napoleon Dynamite, I chose to include them for look and feel as well. Like they're not comps that would make, in a pitch make someone be like, oh yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. But they were just extras for me to say like, oh, there's parts of this that I see here too.
You're such a student of film. It's like really cool to like see like what do you have in your encyclopedia up here?
Yeah, you know how like some people you make like a playlist for your script or for your movie or project?
Yeah.
I also feel like I like to do like a watch list, and these are like
Totally.
Oh my gosh, can you share a watch list that we can share with our followers?
Oh my God, yes, we'll do it. We'll do
It's
it.
so fun.
I think that'd be awesome. And then Caroline, you made a playlist, didn't you? I thought you did.
I think I did at one point. I'll have to go back into the archives and figure out. Yeah, it's been a long it's like, when did I do that? It feels like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So I got to go back and find it.
And also for anyone who makes decks of your own. If you ever want to set a vibe for somebody while they're going through your deck, no matter what the deck is, you can always include a playlist because that'll help set the vibe while they're going through your deck.
Totally.
We're going to jump into meeting our characters, but before we do, let's talk about the first scene and where we find them. So Caroline, where do we find them?
Yeah, so the movie kicks off, which I sort of think is the big thing at any sort of, if you've worked at a summer camp, you find out like the lay of the land, or camp directors are sort of telling you what to like get you excited and jazzed for the summer, and you're with, staff that maybe you've been at camp with before, or they're brand new, they've never been to this camp. So the energy is just this sort of like electric energy. And that's where we're meeting a lot of them. But we feel relationships very quickly. And two of those that we meet are Deborah and Pastor Dave, who run our camp. And they are the camp directors. They're the vibe. What I think I enjoy about their story is that coming of age can be at any age. I think that these are two that are probably like upper 30s, maybe early 40s, that met and fell in love with each other when they're 15, 16, 17, when you're barely have formed what kind of human you are. And I think at that time, a lot of this dynamic, people who meet in the church, they also get married very young. So you have this one version of yourself and you evolve. And is that person still the same person that you married? And I think that's sort of the crossroads that these two are at. And Deborah is sort of this, clueless with a heart of gold student council president energy that really wants like an overwhelming Nicholas Sparks romance, while Pastor Dave is like the cheesy dad pastor that you've met that makes every corny joke and just really wants everyone to be happy and be a big support system for everyone. So how we're meeting them in this scene is that the two are bickering as they go on the stage. So they're not quite the united front that I think people are used to seeing them as, but they know how to put on the show, because that's half of it. When you're putting things on as camp directors, you got to smile, even though things aren't great off happening in the real world. So they are here to get us kicked off for the summer. Everyone's deeply excited to find out who are they going to be co-counseling with. What are the surprises that are about to ensue for all of them?
Great. And it's revealed, right, that they want to get a divorce, or Deb wants to divorce Dave. Is that
correct? Exactly. Yeah, that's the reveal. Yeah.
Yes. And it's scandal because, Christian.
Scandal.
Yeah.
So, Stephanie, can you talk a bit about the types of folks you envision playing these two people?
Oh my gosh. These characters are hilarious. So we were thinking like Deb would just have this like almost Kate Gosling look, which I think would be so funny for whoever can wear that wig. But we were picturing like, a funny character comedian, someone like a Heidi Gardner, someone with like some maybe Second City or Groundlings chops. I know we were talking about Lake Bell or people like that, like just someone that feels so believably they could be this pastor's wife who's been married since 18, but she's ready to get a little randy. Right? She's ready to maybe explore herself finally. Maybe Deb's ready to be Deb finally. And Pastor Dave, I just love the idea of like, God, this dork. Like he's trying so hard. He's so earnest. He's trying to keep it together. He thinks he's hilarious with his little jokes. So I know we were talking like John Hader or like, Matthew Lillard is like a Matthew Lillard type, just someone that seems so sweet. And at this point, also, like you'd roll your eyes because they're making too many Christian dad jokes.
Caroline, who's Chasen?
Chasen is a very important archetype that has terrorized every church in the early 2000s, every summer camp, maybe even your dorm room. But this guy he's an ex-Christian rock star that's great with the Lord, but even better with the ladies. Just because he knows 3 chords on a guitar, he's going to use that against you and find a way to make out with you under the guise of servantship. So that's Chasen. You know him, you met him, you probably wanted him to touch your breast, and he got away with that.
Over the clothes.
And he said, Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Oh my God. This character like as soon as I read the script, I'm like, I know this guy. Like you just like Caroline just said, you met this guy. If you were
Mhm.
any like I met this guy in college for sure.
Mhm.
They all had longboards and guitars and they could play the slowest
Yeah.
version of Hallelujah that you've ever heard.
Yep.
And the ladies went crazy. So I was picturing just frosted tips, like that kind of look back then. I know that Righteous Gemstones had a character that I feel like looks visually like this in their,
Yes. Yeah.
season, and it's the guy I have, pictured there. But like the frosted tips, the sort of like bad boy clothes that aren't really that bad boy. But I love Survivor, and I pictured Coach as well, like a younger Coach, because Coach, if you know Survivor, he is spiritual. He's wearing like Native
Hmm.
American feathers. He is doing Tai Chi. He's also got a cross around his neck, and he's
Yeah.
going to talk to you about how he just loves all religions, all people, but he's going to use all of it to manipulate you, which is what he does in South Pacific. That's a great season of Survivor. So I was picturing that with the like 2000s hot boy look.
Important detail that we find out throughout our opening scene is that Chasen and Deb have had some previous interactions together that may be romantic and sexual. We'll get into it as the feature grows, but I mean, his Riz is undeniable, and
Mhm.
everyone wants to be him or they want to fuck him.
And
Yeah.
he ends up having like a really deep relationship with Dave as well, because Dave wants to be him.
Exactly.
Yes, he wants to be him so badly that he wants to smell like him. And Caroline, can you tell us about the scent
Yeah.
Jason wears?
Oh, I would be honored. I mean, because honestly, if you close your eyes, you think about 2005, and you're assaulted by the senses of Axe body spray. And obviously, we
Mm.
can't use Axe body spray. But Kim's idea of Rod body spray that's like Christ inspired in the bottle is because I don't know if you, I think there was one that had like just abs and you would
That was
spray
Bod.
it. And
That was Bodman.
yeah, that was bod. So that's why we're calling it Rod.
Yeah.
So Rod body spray, and it is meant for skunks. But
Yeah.
men all over this camp are using it.
Let's talk about our stars.
These girls. So these counselors are so important to me. I think Now and Then is such a formative text for me. And I think I thought a lot about it while I was working on this story because I just think the foursome of a female friendship, also Sex in the City, it's just like a nice square. You can get sort of each relationship dynamic and personality type and really explore that and see how they grow throughout a summer like this and how it really forces you to reckon with your faith, your identity, and all the important things that happen at that age. And the first person in this quadrant is Sarah, and Sarah is the rigid, rule following Tracy Flick vibes that is very I need to like I'm following this way because this is what the Bible told me. And this summer forces her to break the rules a bit and realize that maybe going by the book, capital B, is maybe not the way that she can live the rest of her life. And there's more freedom outside of doing that rigidity. Trinity is more of our Christian Disney princess. Think Giselle in Enchanted. Very free flowy, effervescent. All the animals come to her, all the kids. It's just very, everything happens and goes her way. But now maybe she's having to force to make some more exploration of herself this summer. And maybe there's more to her than just being this sweet girl. And maybe there is a queer aspect to her that she has to sort of allow herself to explore herself in that way. And then we have some of our baddies of the camp. Christine
Mm.
is Hellscape, Regina George, sort of wrecking ball coming to the camp to destroy every man in her path. And maybe acts like she doesn't care about any of this religion stuff, but we
Mhm.
sort of peel the layers back a bit to realize maybe she does want to be accepted more than she's allowed other people to see. And that maybe there's more of a relationship between her sexuality and her faith than she's put together before. And then finally, there's Mary, who maybe like a little bit more of the punk vibes we've discussed a little bit earlier. She's the new girl. Her parents have forced her to be here. She's moved from a big city to North Carolina, is not wanting to be any part of this, loves Ashley Simpson, Vans girl, loves, you know, the Warped Tour, every sort of thing from that era, and is forced into this as like a fish out of water, hates God, like wants nothing to do with God. We are revealed that she is queer and isn't necessarily wanting to hide that, and feels a little bit of the pushback from Trinity, who ends up being the other person that she interacts a lot with romantically, maybe not, to feel like what that can feel like to put yourself out there like that and have it pushed back against. And like in this time where being queer wasn't quite as mainstream yet, and especially in the South, where, you know, there was a hint of this at the time, but it wasn't as fully as mainstream as it is now.
Caroline, can you talk a bit more about their dynamics with each other?
Sarah and Trinity, they have been going to Camp Alternative, that is the name of our camp, for years and years and years. They've had this whole life plan from that they were going to be co-counselors together. We find out in our initial scene that they have not been put together. They are split with people that they were not planning to be with. And Sarah's mortal enemy is Christine, because Christine is everything she is not. She is out there. She's making out with boys. They're touching her breast in a way where Christine is so repressed and rigid, and it's like oil and water. They do not mix, and we see how that relationship evolves throughout the summer. And Trinity and Mary are paired together, and Trinity rubs Mary in the wrong way because she's just so free flowing, just this sweet, lighter energy, while Mary is so closed off to everything. And we have to see, actually, maybe these two have more in common than that they realize. And actually, we can say that across the board for all four of them. And what this summer allows them to find out individually, but also within their relationships with each other.
Stephanie, who do we see as these characters?
I don't know a ton of teen to early 20s actors. So this is a very good opportunity to find some new talent, I think. Of course, there's probably some people in the Disney world that we could look at. But I also am really excited about the idea of bringing in some newcomers to explore these roles.
Producer note, we're probably going to cast people who are 18 and over because of all the rules with come with working with children. We will have children on set briefly as background. But working with children there are a lot of rules, and there should be. And also, children cannot consent to doing this work, actually. So it feels a little responsible to put them in that.
And like, I know we've been coming up with like people that are in their 20s that look young. Because of SCAD, know a lot of actors. I know some of whom actually live in Chicago now that are all like under 26 and look young. And I'm sure we can find, others as well. So.
And honestly, like, as we're casting, if we have the luxury to cast the kids first, I think that would be good, because then we can cast the adults in a way where the gap makes sense, so that we can just contextualize them in the age gap. That's our whole deck. And Stephanie, it's such a beautifully made deck. I love how it sets the vibe and the tone, and just like both of your collective creative genius is, I just love what both of you do, and it's so cool to see you doing it together. Before we depart, I think it would be great to hear a little more from Caroline about, why did you want to write this?
For me, camp was such an important piece of my identity. I spent my entire youth going to camp, wanting to be at camp, wanting to be a camp counselor, and eventually becoming that in college and being a unit leader in charge of the female counselors. I think for me, I don't know. And I think for anyone who maybe had their like difficulties as a child, like I had a really difficult relationship with my father. And this was like, camp was the one time where I got to be free of all of that. And I got to just be myself. And I think it's also such a community focused place, and community is so important to me, and such a beautiful ecosystem that I love to explore and want to honor everything that camp has done for me. And I hope that other people who grew up going to camp see that represented for themselves as well.
beautiful.
Yeah, thank you for writing it.
Yes, it's such a
Thanks for you working to do it.
yes, it's such a fun script, and I can't wait to put it out in the world because I want to watch it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as my Lord and Savior Jack White says, or he's once said to Olivia Rodrigo, it was her job to make music that she wanted to hear. It is our job to make movies that we want to see.
I always say that, like, I mean, I'm a writer as well, and I have gotten the question, like, because I've written some, difficult things, some personal things, and people have had responses to those, and they've been like, why did you do this? And I'm like, I literally write what I would have wanted to read, and sometimes I do a project because I searched for something like it and it didn't exist. That's a podcast. I was like, I want to listen to a podcast about the history of women in film, and I couldn't find that, so I made it. And so, like, I just want everyone to kind of use that as their litmus test at whenever they're like, oh, why should I do this? Or you're stopping yourself from making a project that you would watch. If you would watch it, other people will.
There's an audience. There's someone out there that's like actively scrolling Letterboxd. They're like, I don't want to watch that Quentin Tarantino movie. Where is the media, the stories, the coming of age?
And there's so many people that have been to a camp like this that are going to love seeing that reflected.
Yeah.
So we just have to keep making our stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The thing I think about a lot is how, especially with our group of people, we've all done stuff on stage. That means we've put ourselves out there in front of other people and received immediate feedback from them.
Totally.
Immediate. Like, we're not afraid of like, oh, this failed at box office. Like, I've had people fail. I've failed in front of people's faces.
Yeah, I've done shows for 2 people. So
yes.
say like God, this.
Yeah.
Do your comedy.
Yeah. So like, no, I've already felt what failure feels like, and I think that this is gonna work.
Yeah. And there is a scrappiness to live performance in theater that I think translates incredibly well to film on a budget, because anyone who's worked in theater at some capacity knows, like, you got to make this giant beautiful world out of nothing, out of $100 sometimes, and so we're like, oh yeah, we're on phase, like we can find that money, we can find that resource. So I think that putting live performance people, theater people into the film world translates incredibly well.
I know people have like spreadsheets of data that tell them how to do their job. We have that inside of our bodies.
The body keeps the score.
Yeah. Exactly. Thank you so much for tuning in to learn more about our first feature film, Christ Camp 2005. I'm the producer, Katie Johnston Smith.
I am the writer, Caroline Nash.
And I'm the director, Stephanie Weber. Thank you so much for watching this. And please check out our playlist to find out a little bit more about what the production company is going to do, some future projects perhaps, and how you could help out with Christ Camp 2005.